All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, it is a pleasure to talk to you guys on this wonderful Monday. Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful Easter. Hopefully, everybody had a good time. Celebrate with your loved ones, family members, or however you like to celebrate Easter. Hopefully, everybody had a good one. Today, it is Monday. We are going to be doing doubles up until Wednesday. So we're going to be doing two picks each day up until Wednesday. We are off Thursday, Friday, and then we shall return on Saturday. So hopefully you guys join us for that venture and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. So today we have the Seahawks and the Jaguars on the clock. Brandon, what is going on, my man?
Good, man.
How are you doing today? I feel you. I feel you, man. I feel you, and I appreciate you pushing it back. I know it's a little late where you're at right now, so I totally appreciate that. It was just last minute stuff caught up with me, so I had to go take care of that.
It's cool, man. I understand.
All right, so today we have. Well, first let me ask you, how was your Easter, man? Everything cool?
Yeah, yeah,
It was. I feel you.
yeah.
I know. I feel you. Well, on the good news, today we have the Seahawks and the Jaguars, two very, very interesting teams on how this is going to play out. So let us begin first with the number 16th pick, the Seattle Seahawks. After finishing 9-8, having the 17th best offense and 25th best defense, it is safe to say that the Seahawks kind of digressed a little bit last year. I don't think nobody. Well, everybody knew Arizona was gonna be on like a rebuild time. Nobody thought the Los Angeles Rams can actually, like, all right, we can do this, But lo and behold, I kept saying it all last offseason that a lot of people want to write off Russell Wilson after having 9 great seasons, but all of a sudden, Geno Smith has one decent year, and we're supposed to forget about the other 8 or 9, And well, here we are. Here we are. You're stuck with Geno because you're not in a position to get a quarterback at 16. Well, you can, but then you can, but you have so many other needs that, well, is quarterback an option for you at 16? And I think that's what we're going to discuss today. Now, Geno Smith did throw for 3,624 yards and 20 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. That's fine and dandy, but with the type of money that you're paying him, you need it to be. Same thing I said about Russell Wilson and them. It's like, hey, when you're paying that much money, I need some elevation up in those numbers. And then Kenneth Walker, he's back with 905 yards, rushing 8 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett led the team with receptions with 79, but DK Metcalf led the team with receiving yards and touchdowns, receiving with 1,114 yards and 8 touchdowns. Bobby Wagner doing Bobby Wagner things, 183 combined tackles. Boy Mayfield, 9 sacks. And Julian Love, who was a free agent addition last year, 4 interceptions. So overall, Brandon, what happened? What happened to the Seattle Seahawks team that everybody just thought they can cruise to the second place, they can get a wild card again, and hope for the best?
What happened with them? That's a hard question to answer because you did these teams we've done the last couple of days. It's a hard question and an easy question at the same time because it's like, the defense didn't show up, but the defense was kind of middle of the pack. But the offense didn't do what it needed to do. But the offense was decent enough to get you where you needed to be. So this is the thing about missing the playoffs, and you're not bad, but you're not good. You're like in the middle, and that's the problem with being in the middle of the pack because you don't know what the hell is wrong. You had the necessary weapons to get you there. You might not just have leadership, and I think Seattle was tired of Pete Carroll. I'm gonna be honest. I think they were tired of his voice. Sometimes the player coach shit kind of wears thin. You kind of need kind of more of an aggressive coach trying to get you motivated, and you keep hearing your coach kind of be real friendly with you, and you're like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to hear that shit today. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, and it's just, I think that happened. I think the Russell Wilson trade finally caught up to the Seattle Seahawks. I think you believed in Geno Smith, and you paid this man, like, I get it. He got you to the playoffs the year before, so I guess you felt like you owed him something. But it just immediately showed you, like, I don't know if that was a good idea. And immediately you saw it. I mean, because there was nothing wrong with the team. I mean, you got a rookie in JSN. You got Devin Witherspoon, who got injured, so kind of hurt your secondary a little bit there. I mean, nothing was really wrong with Seattle. I just feel like it was what we expected them to be the year before. And I think, again, we're always a year late. Like, it's like
we're either a year too early or we're a year too late. It's never we're like, huh? What the hell?
Like we expected this Seattle team.
What was last year?
Last year,
yeah.
Like we expected this Seattle team to be like last year, and it didn't happen. So. Yeah, I think everything we predicted them to have the problems with last year, they had this year. So that's pretty much what happened with Seattle.
I think what happened to Seattle, I just think that it was more due so to the fact that I think they believe that they can run it again. That, we just have to do enough, right? But I'll be honest with you. First off, I didn't see the Pete Carroll firing. Like I didn't. Well, okay, not firing, but it's hey, you have to retire. Yeah, there you go. They mutually agreed to part ways, is what it was, right? Yeah, whatever that means. Like they mutually, and I just. In a way, I did feel kind of bad, in a way, because it was kind of like, I mean, so he missed the playoff by a game or two, and that's not enough. But I just think overall, I think it was time to turn that new leaf, because I think that old Seattle team that we remember, I think has finally ran its course. I think this is a new destiny. I think this is a new era of Seattle. They've been away from the Legion of Boom for a little bit. The front seven has always kind of been the defensive line rotations, the NASCAR packages. They kind of, it just seems like it's time for a new leaf, and it's time for a new direction, which I think that played into the part of Pete Carroll retiring. And then it also, brought into the fact that a lot of players, it's just, hey, it's time to go. And, but I will say this. I will say this. I think the first thing, hiring Mike Macdonald was a very interesting hire. I truly find it interesting. Not because he doesn't deserve it. Let's not be crazy either. It's not that he doesn't deserve it. It's just kind of, I can't believe Baltimore didn't try to retain him, is the thing, because he built this Baltimore defense his way, and it's like, oh, well, now you have to bring in somebody else. Now for Seattle, this is great. This is great in a sense that you're going to build somewhat, you're not going to build the exact same talent, because it's hard to duplicate anything in the NFL. But at least what you're going to get now is, I think that's something that Seattle's defense has been missing for quite a while. Aggressiveness, technique. I think they've been missing that for a while. And I think with Mike Macdonald, I don't think there's no question in your mind who's going to run that defense, what's going to happen, how's it going to get run. I like the hire. I really do. And I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, on the Mike Macdonald hire.
It works out if the defense is good. Now, offense, that ain't his strong suit. I don't expect him to know offense. I don't expect him to be. If he can immediately turn that defense around, let's say Devin Witherspoon
gets healthy. Because let's not forget, Devin Witherspoon was playing great up until the injury.
you got Kobe Bryant, you got
Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, like you got some secondaries, responsibilities. Of course, Jamal Adams leaving, getting rid of him. But you got a replacement in Julian Love that you brought in from the Giants last year. So it's a team. Like I don't look at the Seattle Seahawks and question the defense. I think the defense is actually the best damn thing on the team. Like it's the craziest thing.
Yeah, and and it's kind of weird because the offense outperformed the defense statistically, but it's not like the defense is bad. It's just, is there a missing piece? Maybe.
They got injured.
The injuries, sure. People left. Well, now it's people left, and don't forget, it's not that people just left defensively. People, both sides of the football left. Damian Lewis, who's been a starting right guard for them for a minute now, he's now got the bag and he went to Carolina to try to revamp that offense over there. Jordan Brooks, their former first rounder out of Texas Tech, well, he's in Miami now. Will Dissly, he's gonna be he's gonna be a tight end, a new offensive piece for the Chargers. Bobby Wagner, second time he's left Seattle, he's heading up to Washington to try to fix that defense with Dan Quinn and everybody. And then Drew Lock, one of the last pieces of that Seattle trade, is now heading to the Giants. By the way, that Daniel Jones Drew Lock camp battle, it's gonna be so great because the way I look at Drew Lock versus Daniel Jones, the quarterback camp battle. Do you remember the first Alien versus Predator movie? Do you remember the first time it came out, Alien versus Predator? There was a poster I saw, and I think this is the perfect example of Drew Lock versus Daniel Jones for Giant fans this year. Whoever wins that battle loses.
Yeah.
You lose. Like, all right, man, you got two choices to be your starting quarterback: Drew Lock or Daniel Jones, and you got to pick one.
Shit, fuck it. Can we punt?
Can we just throw? Can't we just pass the ball to Saquon? Oh,
Shit, he's not there.
Oh,
Singleton. Just do Wildcat formation the entire fucking game. It's just.
Now, I will say this though: for Seattle, they did get some nice pieces as well. Rayshawn Jenkins, the safety, to replace Jamal Adams, and I think him and Julian Love are going to be an amazing safety duo. George Fant, former right tackle of Houston, he's going to be joining now. And honestly, I think George Fant can replace Damian Lewis. Now, I know George Fant is a tackle by trade, but I mean, if it's there, it's there. Jerome Baker, Miami stole one of yours, you steal one of theirs. That's kind of how the NFL free agency kind of works sometimes, And then Jonathan Hankins, who I like, defensive lineman coming from Dallas. He's now going to be coming here to try to support that defense. And then you resign, two of your biggest names on the defensive side. Leonard Williams, we know how much of a good player he is, and especially when he's healthy and he's 100%. I really, I truly believe that Leonard Williams, he just shows that he's just a defensive lineman through and through. Doesn't matter if it's 3-4 and 4-3 defensive tackle. He's just a defensive lineman through and through, and that's good for him. And then Artie Burns, you got him back to play slot for your corner now that, Devin Weatherspoon, Tariq Woolen looks like they're going to be the 1-2 combo, but Artie Burns in the slot is a good pickup. Now, all this doesn't mean really much anything to us right now because this is just April. So a lot of things can happen between now and April, right? But the good thing is, it looks like Seattle wasn't really affected by free agency. They replaced what they needed to replace. Sure, it's going to take some building time because I think we all understand when you bring in a new head coach, you're going to want to bring in your guys too. You're going to want to draft a certain way. And I think, there's going to be some mixed emotions and there's going to be some changes like anything else. But I do like the direction that the Seattle Seahawks are going. Like I said, I think they got the right stuff defensively, because Mike McDonald is that type of defensive coordinator. When you saw how he built that Baltimore defense, it was tough. It was ferocious. It was always high motor and aggressive. And I think the players that they have, from the back end, Julian Love to Devin Witherspoon, to now, Leonard Williams. And there's a lot of there's still some linebackers on there too, like Boya Mafe, Uchi Usawanu, so aggressiveness. I do not if anything, I think the Seattle defense is going to be in great hands with Mike McDonald. Now, the offense, we just have to find out and see, right? We just have to find out and see. Now, does it mean that necessarily that the defense is still needs help? Yeah, of course. But it's just one of those things where I think Mike McDonald's in a situation. It's like, hey, we're going to give you a clean slate, build it how you want it, and then we'll see how it goes in about 3 to 4 years. Brandon, any last words before we make our picks?
No, I think that's exactly what I would see Seattle be. Like I said, I think Seattle's defense is going to be the best part of this team. Depending on what you do with this pick, they might go deep tackle, or they might completely say, "Screw it, let's just give offense some help at some point." You didn't mention that they also have a new quarterback in Seattle, in Sam Howell, who they traded to go get.
Right.
Who can actually take the job away from Geno Smith.
It's not out of the realms. Let's be real.
Yeah, if they feel it's important to maybe move the ball because Geno Smith might not be capable of doing so. Like you've been saying, one season does not negate 10 years of not doing shit. So if you see Sam Howell last year with the most egregious offensive line on friggin' planet Earth,
malpractice, as I like to describe it. Malpractice.
And he still threw 4,000 yards passing. I mean, that shit is crazy. I mean, and now you got way better weapons.
And not only that, you got a way better offensive line.
And a way better running back.
So, I think that's going to be something to look at too. So I don't believe. Here's the thing. I think as a Seahawks fan, you can't get your hopes up too much. Like, we'll be back in the playoffs. I think if you're a Seahawks fan, you kind of have to look at it like, you know what? We'll see how this season goes. At least you know this much. At least you know you're going to be competitive. You're going to be competitive.
Yeah, and I will also say this is going to be probably the most interesting NFC West in a while because we don't know what the Rams are going to be. We don't. Now that Aaron Donald is gone, we don't know what the Rams are going to be.
Yeah, that's sort of
especially defensively, we don't know what the hell they're going to be.
Yeah.
Can they replace him? They're not replacing Aaron Donald. Oh shit,
you get okay. See, here's the thing. And I'm glad you brought that up. Like, you can replace some player. Like the Raiders. Yes, losing Nnamdi Asamoah hurt, but you can replace that. Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals losing Chad Ochocinco hurts, but you can replace that. It's going to take some time. There's certain players that have come through the doors of the NFL. You can't replace. You can't replace a Tom Brady. You can't replace an Aaron Donald. Put it as simple as that. You can't. There's nothing else like it. There's not. So you can't replace a Jerry Rice. You can't replace a Randy Moss. You can't replace a Barry Sanders. You can't replace an Antonio Gates. You can't replace a Jonathan Nottingham. You can't replace an Anthony Munoz. You can't replace a Reggie White. There's just some players that come into the league, kill it, and like, okay, well, we could just drop. There's no such thing. If it were that easy, there would be no Hall of Fame. Simple as that. Simple as that. So, again, you could try. Oh, you can try.
You can try. I've seen franchises damn near bankrupt themselves trying to get the damn player that they lost one day. Like, you can try.
Sure, go ahead, try. That ain't going to happen, but you can try.
Doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. But no, I just think when we're talking about the NFC West, you're right. Because now that Aaron Donald's gone, can the offense pick up the pace? With Arizona, can they take the next step, or are we still a year away from it? Did San Francisco lose too much? And are they starting to show cracks a little bit with the reports that are coming out with players not getting their contracts? How are we going to look at this? Who's going to have to restructure? who's going to be there beyond this year. So it's just, like I said, I think the NFC West, it's still going to be fun to watch, but we don't know. I have more questions about the NFC West this year than I have probably in the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun. And who knows, maybe this pick for Seattle, maybe this is the guy that turns it around. The Seattle Seahawks win the division. We don't know. We don't know. So, Brandon, you first, my man. With the 16th pick, what name are you going to be reading off that card?
Okay. For the 16th pick in 2024 NFL draft, the Seattle Seahawks will select. I am not going to even say this man's name because I am going to fuck it up. The Oregon State offensive lineman.
Yes. Okay. I got you. Go ahead. I know who you're talking about. I'm not saying
his name because I'm going to fuck it up. So I refuse to do that to that man. So I just feel like they need to go offensive line. You can go secondary. You can go secondary, but is it too early to maybe take a safety? Maybe. I mean,
and for the people that don't know, his name is Tyrese Fuga.
There it is. Tyrese Fuga. Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, there you go. I got you, man. I got you.
He can play offensive tackle or he can play offensive guard, whichever one you need. And I think as good as this, like I said, Seattle's a hard team to figure out because just like all of these teams, it's kind of hard to figure out. Now we're getting into the crevices of the draft because it's like, shit, they don't really need a real star. They just need the future.
They just need to develop, right?
Yeah, they just need somebody just in case something happens. And we got this rookie that can step in for you. Now, do I think George Fant is a good replacement for Lewis? Maybe. But I don't think he's probably not going to want to play a guard position. I'm pretty sure he's been a tackle for a while. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to go into the interior line.
If he wants to continue to be a starter in the league, I mean, hey, push comes to shove, hey.
Yeah, but I feel like also, if you get this rookie, at least you would know, okay, we got our tackles that we drafted 2 years ago. We're good. We got one guard that we trust. Maybe Fant can go over to the left or the right, depending on how you feel about it. But I do believe you need to build that offensive line. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback. If it's Geno or if it's Sam Howell, it doesn't matter. You got to build that offensive line because you got the weapons like you're giving these quarterbacks. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett's still there.
Kenneth Walker
running the ball. Like, he needs open lanes. Like, you need to give this team an offensive line. Something that I think a lot of teams learned last year is like, we can have all the success in the world, but if our quarterback go down, we're screwed. We're screwed. As good as Cleveland was last year with Joe Flacco, they got in the playoffs and that offensive line started fucking up, and it was just like, oh.
Like, whoops.
Oh, this is not good.
No, it's not.
It's stuff like that. The reason why the Eagles started to falter late last year is because that offensive line started to kind of break down a little bit. And so if you got a chance to draft a rookie, you don't need him right now. We know you don't need him right now. But if you can get one that is projected to be, to a lot of people, the second offensive lineman off the board, which is crazy to say, but he is projected to be the second offensive lineman off the board. Some people have him being the second offensive lineman off the board after Joe Alt. You wouldn't take him?
That's a bang for your buck, basically, at that point.
I mean, that's like literally you get gifted a damn somewhat of a generational offensive lineman in some people's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I you know how I feel about it. I think I had him going to what? Let me see. I got my list right here. I had him going to Minnesota at 11.
Oh, yeah.
So he's gone. He's already on a plane to Minnesota. From Detroit to Minnesota, he's probably already landed by the time the 16th pick is already here.
Yeah, he's being Sam Darnold, and they're like, "Oh my God, I gotta protect you. You're gonna suck, dude."
Like, oh my God, if Teddy's fool was watching this video, he's probably going, "Yeah, Seattle, yeah."
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I like the pick. Well, I mean, everything I said about him, literally 5 picks ago is everything you're saying right now. Like, listen, he, because the thing is, what is he really, right? Is he a tackle? Is he a guard? We just don't know. And I think for Seattle's case, I think it's good because you could start him inside, but God forbid if something happens to either Cross or Abraham Lucas, guess what?
Which,
Well, that's what you drafted him for, is to play either or. Versatility.
Which, by the way, that's the reason why Seattle kind of started to lose a lot last year, because it did happen.
It did happen. So yeah, no, that is a great pick. Now, unfortunately for me, I can't make that pick because he's already gone. He's already in Minnesota.
Yeah, he's gone. He's cursing your name on the plane, by the way.
Yeah, like motherfucking what? He is pissed. He is pissed.
I get the team over Justin Jefferson, but this motherfucker here, Sam Darnold.
Like it doesn't matter if I'm paired up with Justin Jefferson. Is this motherfucker ever gonna find Justin Jefferson? Like, first of all, is this dude ever gonna find Justin Jefferson? Like, oh my god, I can only protect so much, Like, so I like the pick. So for me, I'm gonna go a different route here. I did want to go offensive lineman, but the problem is when I saw what was left, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that to any of these guys because none of these guys, one, it's too early to draft this guy, and two, I just don't. I think I can get a guard later, and I still need help defensively because the most important factor that nobody is looking, you lost both of your inside linebackers, not one, both. Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner are not there no more. They're not there. So what do? You got to improvise. You got to find something to help you. Now, the defensive line, I'm not worried about. The linebackers, I could be worried about because I know some of them do have a little bit of history with injuries. And the other two, well, I'm not really sure if they're ready to take the cake. And I think this is why I went with this kid at 16. So here we go. So with the 16th pick in this year's draft, the Seattle Seahawks, if I was a general manager, I'm turning the card in. His name is Leatu Latu, edge linebacker from UCLA. Look, man, I don't have to tell you about this kid because I think we've all seen his videos. I think we've all seen how he plays. And at one point, he was talking, people were talking about him being chosen over the likes of Dallas Turner. Pretty much being the first defensive player drafted overall. That's what we're talking about. And I think right now, if you put him, look, 6'5", 265, you can't miss that. That's not taught. That was given to him. Now, what he did get, though, and what he earned rightfully so, and in all of 2023, by the way, the Ted Hendricks Award, given to the best linebacker in the country, not just in the Pac-12, the country. The Lombardi Award, given to the best defensive player in the nation. He has been a unanimous All-American. He is the Pat Tillman Defensive Player of the Year, given to the top Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. He won the Morris Trophy, which is the best defensive. Well, here's the thing. He can either be D-end for edge, or he could play linebacker. And he was voted best defensive lineman in the Pac-12. He's a freak. He's an athletic freak. Polynesian Football Player of the Year, and a 2-time first team All Pac-12 in 22 and 23. So none of this is a surprise to me because he's been doing this for the last couple of years now. So he's been killing it. For the people that don't watch the Pac-12, he's been killing it the last couple of years. And why wouldn't he not kill it? 49 tackles, 13 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. I think if you're Seattle here, and let's say my reality happens where all the offensive linemen that you think you would want are gone, right? From the kid from Washington to the kid from Oregon State, Joel Olufashanu's gone. Do you want to take a risk here of taking the guard from Duke when you could probably get him in the second round? Do you want to take Amir's Mims, even though he has that injury? Tyler Guyton is strictly a tackle. He can't play inside because he doesn't have the quickness to play inside. Amiris Mims, well, he's got a little bit of that injury history. And again, he's a left tackle. You already got your left tackle.
Yeah.
So in tier, unless you want to go with the center from Oregon, but what you're asking him to do is, hey, we already kind of have our center, so I need you to play guard, which you could do, but then you're selling yourself short for trying to fix this defense that needs help due to injury, due to players missing time. And I think if you get Laiatu Latu here, you could plug him in day one, and he's going to play. He is the athlete, today's NFL athlete for linebackers. He can rush the passer. He can stop the run. He can cover. He is your today NFL. And last time I checked, you might need one of those in today's NFL. So I have no problem here with Laiatu Latu here, the edge linebacker from UCLA.
Defensively, he fits. He works. Because Seattle they need one of them.
Oh, they need one of them. Yeah, they do.
They need one of them. I think he's one of those defensive players that you don't know what you're going to get until you put him on the field. But I can definitely see him be Rookie of the Year, a defense Rookie of the Year, depending on the team he goes to, because he will be asked to do a lot.
Yes, he will.
That's not a bad thing. That's the crazy part. That's not a bad thing. So, I mean, and that might be the best fit for him because if Seattle takes him, now you know, okay, I don't really have to do a lot. Defensively, all I got to do is play linebacker or edge. I'm cool with that. And I'm learning from under, Leonard Williams, who comes from Oregon, of all places. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like...
No, USC. Leonard Williams comes from USC.
Yeah, USC. But coming from a Pac-12 school, well, USC, UCLA. So it's Pac-12 school. We're going Pac-12 with both of these picks. I just realized that.
Oh, yeah. The Pac-12 is totally dominating these last couple of days. I'm not going to lie to you. The Pac-12 has been completely dominating for these last couple of picks.
I'm really just realizing that. Like, goddamn.
And that's the thing. I want to give him offensive lineman here, but I just think, honestly...
Well, you took a lot of offensive linemen off the board already, so it's kind of hard to give offensive linemen.
Well, I mean, I could have given him the kid from Duke, but I'm like, you guys can probably get him in the second round, to be honest with you. And if not him, the offensive lineman from West Virginia. So, really, I think for me, it's just, if he's there, if Laiatu Latu's there at 16, I don't know how you just say, hey, we can't pass this up. If you're Seattle, it's like, no, we got to get him.
Why don't you even take the center from Oregon and just move him to guard and see what happens?
Yeah, but then you're asking, damn, we're really going to pass up on this kid? And we really need help on defense, too.
Yeah. And, of course, what was the best thing about Baltimore's defense last year? Linebacker.
So if you grab him, Mike McDonald's that's going to be his new toy.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be his new favorite toy. And to be honest with you, he has a bigger frame than some of the linebackers he worked with last year. So with the same amount of agility and speed. So the sky's the limit for that motherfucker if he goes to Seattle. So, the sky's the limit for that dude. So I can't wait. I think, we'll see how that goes. So Talis Fuuga and Laiatu Latu, God, say that 3 times fast, are now off the board for me and Brandon. Moving on. Pick 17. The Jaguars, after finishing 9 and 8th, 13th best offense, 17th best defense. Playing in a division that it was their division to lose. They lost it.
Why did they ever lose it? Shit.
In a division that was theirs to lose, man, they lost it.
Yo, they got gifted 2 rookie quarterbacks, 2 rookie head coaches, an organization that clearly was about to self-destruct. And they were like, nah.
Nah.
That seemed too easy.
Yeah, that's too easy for these guys.
We need something.
Man.
That's going to be hard.
And then let's go into it. Trevor Lawrence, great. 4,016 passing yards. Great. 21 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. So clearly the turnover thing is still a problem heading into year 3.
Wait, what did he say? 21 touchdowns.
14 interceptions. So clearly the turnover thing is still a problem even after year 3. Travis Etienne.
I tell you, a generational talent. He's a game changer. I tell you that.
He's the man. That's the man. Travis Etienne, 1,008 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns. Now Evan Ingram, the tight end, the lovable tight end, led the team with 114 receptions. 114 receptions to a tight end. Calvin Ridley was only there for a year, and he was already more memorable than Christian Kirk. 76 receptions, 1,016 yards, 8 touchdowns. Now, here we go. On the defensive side, Fowazde, Olukin, 173 combined tackles. So, he's there. Josh Allen with 17 and a half sacks. Well, he got tagged. So, he's coming back. And then Andre Sisco and Darius Williams with 4 interceptions. Now, this whole season for the Jaguars, none of this is the fault of, of players that are playing for them. It's the fault of the ownership and the staff. And in between everything from general manager to selecting the players that is happening here. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some players that I like. Devin Lloyd, amazing. Josh Allen, great. Andre Sisco, hey, nice pickup. All right, we're getting somewhere. But the fact of the matter is, the Jacksonville Jaguars had not 1 but 2 years in a row with the number 1 pick. They wasted it. Just imagine how different it would be if the Jaguars would have just traded the number 1 pick away. The year of Trevor Lawrence.
I'm about to say which time. They had the number 1 pick back.
And then the following year. Just imagine how different this team would have looked if they would have just picked Aiden Hutchinson as a number 1. But yet you draft the guy that, when it comes to crunch time in college or the NFL, he folds. And then you drafted the 6th best defensive player in Georgia at number 1. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, a lot of these guys, Nolan Smith, a lot of these guys got drafted way later. They got drafted way later. And Trayvon Walker, who I did not even see play this year. Was he even on the field?
Was he even on the team?
Now, all this is no fault to the players. It's not their fault that they got drafted where they got drafted. But just imagine how different it would have been if the Jacksonville Jaguars would have just smartened up and be like, you know what? How cool would it be if we paired up Aiden Hutchinson and Devin Lloyd together? Imagine how cool it would have been. Like, you know what? Maybe we should take a little different of the quarterback approach. Maybe. Just maybe. We should maybe, if we're not sold on a franchise quarterback, one of these guys is not the franchise, maybe, then just maybe, we don't draft them. But lo and behold, then there's hope. Doug Peterson. And boy, Doug Peterson loves to bring controversy. Doesn't he, Brandon? He loves to bring in controversy any way he can. This season ended the way it did. What's the first move that Doug Peterson and the staff did? They traded for Mac Jones. Mac Jones, ladies and gentlemen. And here's where it gets crazier. Mac Jones might be the best option for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, why do I say that? That's erroneous. He didn't do anything in Baltimore. He didn't do anything in New England. No. It's the other way around. New England never did anything for him. The other way around. New England never did anything for him. Jacksonville has done everything for Trevor Lawrence. They have given you a badass linebacker. They are building you this offensive line. They are trying to get you more weapons. And yet somehow you keep turning the ball over, whether it's interceptions or fumbles. Brandon, talk to me. Talk to me about these Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frustration.
Yes.
At some point. Not because.
By the way, sorry, breaking news. The Chiefs are signing veteran Carson Wentz, by the way.
That's awesome. He's not playing at all. Who gives a shit?
I mean, hey, great backup.
He's not playing at all.
Not well. He might play week 18 when the Chiefs probably already clinched it.
He might play the bye week because that's the only way they're
You got 2 chances, Carson. You got 2 Carson's chances. Carson, you have 2 chances to play next year, and I have more faith that you'll play in the bye week than the bye week of the season.
Bad, man. I think with this is this, man. Jacksonville is oh shit. I feel like Doug Peterson is gonna get a chance to do what he did in Philly, where he knew Carson Wentz wasn't a guy. So he's like, fuck that. I'd rather just drive Jalen Hurts. Like,
I want people to forget that. I don't want people to forget that. You might be mad at Doug Peterson, but it was him that gave you guys Jalen Hurts.
He's like, second round, Jalen Hurts. Yep, I'll take it. Because he knew Carson Wentz wasn't the guy. He knew it. And he made the decision to go with Jalen Hurts. And the team stupidly fired him because he was right. He was right.
Now, the good thing about the Eagles is like, hey, at least you guys bounced back and actually went back to the Super Bowl. So that's great.
But you didn't win it. I wonder why. So it's a situation where he sees the problem. He knows the problem. The problem is, though, here's the problem. If Jacksonville is going to let him actually be able to do it, which is, Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. I know you brought me here to grow him and make him better and do all these things, but he ain't the guy. He ain't the guy. And I'd rather take the bullet for knowing that right now than for people to look at me like I'm crazy and tell me that this is the second time you didn't trade and bought in somebody that was better than the quarterback that we already had. At some point, you got to let the coach, the offensive mind of the team, get his chance to call it the way he sees it. You think just trading for Mac Jones was a fucking coincidence? People need to stop acting like.
Here's the crazy thing, right? It's because the same thing that we're hearing about Jacksonville is that, oh my God, I can't believe Doug Peterson is going to ruffle up some feathers for doing this trade. It's the same situation that he was in Philly, like you mentioned.
Yep.
He had Carson Wentz. He was there. They said, hey, Nick, you know how to run my offense. Come to. I can't promise you're going to play. And then what's crazy is that when Carson Wentz went down, the Philadelphia's offense was actually better.
Yeah.
So now imagine this situation. You have a quarterback who you took number one, have done everything in your power for the last 2 years. You brought in A plus talent, and then you traded for a quarterback that New England did not know what to do. First of all,
And here's where the thing is, though. What people don't understand, and this is where I think this is why it's interesting. Now, Peterson didn't draft Trevor Lawrence. Peterson did not draft Trevor Lawrence. He got there because he got the job because he said he could make Trevor Lawrence better. He saw what happened with Urban Meyer. I was like, I can do better than that.
Brandon, with all due respect, anybody could have done better than that.
But he saw that and was like, I can get the job done. I can do something with that. And it just feels like Trevor Lawrence just isn't that guy. He just isn't that guy. I know we're gonna get comments and dislikes and all of the shit, but tell me one highlight from Trevor Lawrence that you remember that wasn't a pick. Tell me one highlight from Trevor Lawrence that you remember that he wasn't the most he was the most inconsistent son of a bitch on the field. Like, tell me. Like, show me one game where he was the best player on the field. Don't worry, I'll wait. Because it hasn't happened. It hasn't fucking happened. The only reason why people even give him any praise is because of the Chargers game. And we have all said, we've all said, Brandon Staley can't coach his way out of a plastic fucking bag. Why are you surprised?
Wet, by the way. Wet and grippled. With already 5 holes in them.
He can't coach shit. And he got, this is how bad of a coach you are. When they literally is like, yeah, we're going to hire you, but you ain't even going to be the assistant. You're going to be the assistant defensive coordinator.
You're going to be the assistant to the assistant.
You're the assistant to the assistant of the defense. Shit is embarrassing. You went from being the head coach to being the assistant of the assistant. That shit tells you how bad of a defensive coordinator he really was. Like, it's just like, but that tells you. Like, I just feel like him trading for Mac Jones is something. Even though people don't want to ever admit it to themselves. You think he just traded for Mac Jones for no reason? He saw the ending of that season. He saw what the fuck next year was going to look like. He needs a backup plan because he's like, I'm not going down with this fucking ship. Like you are Jacksonville, you're not about to blame me for how bad you look because Trevor Lawrence can't read fucking defenses. You ain't about to blame me because Trevor Lawrence can keep the goddamn ball in his hand. That's not my fault. I told him to play. He decides to throw it to the goddamn opposite team. Is that my problem? Is that my fault? Am I number 16 throwing the damn ball to the Washington Commanders? I don't think that's my problem. That's not my fault.
I think there's more to it. There has to be more. Like, here's the thing. You don't trade for Mac Jones unless there's a plan. Unless you brought him in to be your backup, which is fine. But eventually, knowing Doug Peterson is one of those dudes is like, hey, I have to do what's best. The crazy thing about Doug Peterson is this. You might not always like how he coaches. You might not like his decisions. But you can admire the fact that he's always going to try to put the 11 best people on the field at all times, offensively and defensively. He's always going to put the 11 best people that are up to the job, that have shown that they can do the job. So at the end of the day, Mac Jones being there doesn't mean anything today. It doesn't mean anything on this April 1st. But let's say September 21st, September 24th. Let's say, oh man, the turnovers continue. Let's say by week 7, oh man, the turnovers continue. The Jaguars are 4-3. They're looking outside of the playoffs. Oh no, the Jaguars are 4-6, or whatever the case may be. It's like,
and something else that people don't understand, the reason why he had to draft Jalen Hurts is because the owner told him to trade Nick Foles.
yeah.
The owner told him to trade Nick Foles. So it's just like, because Carson Wentz didn't like Nick Foles being in the office, when they built a statue for him outside the building because they won a Super Bowl without him.
Now, here's the thing. Could we look down the road and say, man, none of these quarterbacks are right for Jacksonville? That could be a thing too. But here's the thing. One thing you have to know about Doug Peterson. He's either going to get it right or he's going to die trying.
Yep.
And at that point, if Trevor Lawrence gets benched for Mac Jones, homie, what's your future like?
It's done.
Like, homie, you're no better off than fucking Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson had nothing to work with than the fucking Jet.
Did you just say Zach Wilson?
Yes.
Here's what people don't, and this is my thing about this, is that you got to realize both of these men were drafted in the same draft, so both of them got a contract coming up together. So somebody's getting paid.
Or nobody. Somebody get paid or nobody's getting paid.
Nobody getting paid and nobody getting paid. Something happening.
Something's bound to happen. So I think that's one where I think that's a storyline where I'm kind of like, can't wait for it to see how it develops over the weeks. But no, and then you look what happened with Jacksonville during free agency, right? Calvin Ridley's gone. He's now going to be buddy with DeAndre Hopkins. That's a scary one too if they can find a guy who can actually throw the ball to him. Darius Williams, he's going to be heading to the Rams now. So the Rams are loading up. I'm going to be honest with you. The Rams are trying to load up. Tre'Davious White, Darius Williams. Hey, at least you got two starting corners right there. Rayshawn Jenkins, he's gone. We just talked about him going to Seattle. Kalavion Chason, again, former first rounder, didn't work out here, but now he's heading to Carolina. And who's to say that maybe it works out in Carolina that it did here? Now, I will say this, arrival-wise, pretty good. Arik Armstead from San Francisco, he's coming. Gabe Davis, he's coming. Now, I don't know what that means, but it has to mean something, remember, this is the guy who had over 200 yards of receiving, but nobody remembers because, well, they lost. And 4 touchdowns. But nobody remembers that. Why? Because Buffalo couldn't hold for 13 seconds.
Best defense in the NFL.
Could not hold for 13 seconds. All you had to do was hold 13 seconds. 13, bro.
Best defense in the NFL. 13 seconds. 3 kills. Got the ball. Oh, shit.
Oh, man. Travis Kelce's open in the flat. Oh, no. Travis Kelce's open in the flat. Fuck. Fuck. Like what? Did nobody see that coming? Come on. Not a soul. Apparently we did, but they did not. Not a soul, man. And then, Darnell Savage, he left Green Bay, coming here now. Mitch Morse, the center from Buffalo. Speaking of Buffalo, he's now the new center for Jacksonville. And Ronald Darby, a former corner from Baltimore. Well, hey, I get it. It ain't Darius Williams, but Ronald Darby can still play. Now, was he what he was 4 or 5 years ago? No. But is he still a solid center? Yes. Yes, he's still solid. I just think for me, if you're Jacksonville, let me rephrase that. If you're Doug Peterson, you either have to make the sleep in the bed that you made, or you just have to go with your gut here. And at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a quarterback switch early. Remember, we're talking about a guy who did a trick play on 4th and goal against that New England team in the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure he's not afraid to pull the trigger early in the season. So I don't know. I think for the Jaguars, I don't think this is Doug Peterson's last year. I really doubt that. I highly doubt that. Because if it is, shit, I would not mind him as an offensive coordinator next year. But hey, whatever. Do as you please. Or he could be the Saints' new head coach. Hey. Hey. I am with it. Like, hey. So yeah, overall, I think for the Jaguars, it's just one of those situations where I think everybody's going to keep a close eye on it. At least we are, because it's like if it doesn't go right early, I wouldn't be surprised. Like if he turns around, he looks at Mac Jones, and he just goes like the Star Wars, scene where they're just like, and that's it. It's like, oh, that's the signal. We gotta go. Yep, we gotta go. Start warming up, man. Start warming up. But coach, I'm not hurt. No. I know. Hey, just grab your hat, get the tablet, sit down. It's okay. The tablet, it's okay. It's okay, big guy. It's okay. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. So Brendan, with all that being said, who do you have the Jaguars selecting at number 17?
What? The number 17 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, LSU.
Wow.
I do not trust this offensive receiver core, not even in the slightest.
Not even the slightest.
Gabriel Davis is a good two, an amazing two. He can't be the one. Why? Because I've already seen that he cannot be the one. Stephon Diggs did not play well last year. Did enough. But it was time for Gabriel Davis to show up, and he just didn't do that at all. Not even close. And as much as they paid Christian Kirk to be the one, he's not. And we know it.
We know it. Jacksonville doesn't know it, though.
And then you still got Zay Jones, who, for some apparent reason, people continuously know that he's not a one. Hell, I don't even know if he's a two. So what the hell do you have as a receiver? You just said it perfectly. Evan Ingram led the team in receptions. A tight end. Who, by the way, we didn't know who he wasn't that good in New York. So we really didn't know what the hell they were about to get in Jacksonville when they got him. So it just feels like they need a number one. They really freaking do. You got to give Trevor Lawrence any and every chance you can give him. So get him a one. Brian Thomas Jr., I don't know if he's a one. He wasn't in LSU, but that was mainly because of Malik Neighbors being there. And Malik Neighbors now being talked about being the number one receiver off the board, which is kind of interesting to hear nowadays. But
it's a possibility. I mean, listen, man, don't put it past anybody. It's there.
It's a real possibility. But 68 receptions, 1,177 yards receiving, 17 touchdowns. He averaged about 17.3 yards per reception. It's not like he can't catch. Like, if this was any other draft, he might be the number one guy, like, off the board if he didn't have the Marvin Harrison. He might be two if you didn't have the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s and the, Romaduzas. But he might be, 2, 3, if Malik Neighbors wasn't the guy there. So he can be the fourth receiver off the board. I just feel like Jacksonville needs a number one. And it might not be for Trevor Lawrence. It might be for Mac Jones. But they need a number one. And something else is, as much as they like Travis Etienne, I think that's Bigsby's running team. I think that's Bigsby's job to lose, really, in Jacksonville. So with the team that you have to at least try to get the number one receiver there. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. fits perfectly. He is what Jacksonville wants as a receiver, but I just feel like he's actually a better receiver than they have right now.
Wow. Brian Thomas Jr. would be pretty dope. It would be pretty dope. Okay. I'm not mad at the pick. I like the pick. I think it's a great pick. The thing is, though, I did look at the wide receiver room and I said, man, I think you can survive off that one more year.
You get one late, but yeah.
You can get one in a second if you really need one, but you can survive with this wide receiver room. There's one position I looked and I said, yeah, we got to do something about this. We got to do something about this. And honestly, it's from the defensive side. But I think if you plug this kid in today in the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, I think he's the missing piece to this defense that I think they go back to what they were a couple years ago. The defense does the dirty work, and the offense just has to do enough to keep afloat. That's it. Keep afloat. So, with that being said, with the 17th pick in this year's draft, I selected Brian Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas. Look, at 6'1", 308 pounds, a lot of people are going to look at this and be like, you sure you really want to put him in that Jacksonville Jaguars defense? Listen, man, it's not the size of the dog, it's the fight in the dog, right? And this guy has a lot of fight. If the one reason why the Texas Washington game was a little bit better than the Michigan Alabama game was for two reasons. You got to see the best offensive line unit in college football go up against what was arguably the best defensive line in college football. And let me tell you, both him and Travarius Sweat got a couple hits off Michael Penix Jr. The fact that Michael Penix Jr. was able to get up first, that's impressive. But Byron Murphy went up against the hardest offensive line in his whole college football career and still walked away. Pretty much pushed himself. I am the best defensive lineman in all of college football. Now, did he win it? No, he did not. But you can say, damn, I'm damn near good. Now I get it. You're going to look at his stats, 29 tackles combined and 5 sacks. You really want to waste that on a first-round pick? Here's why I say Jacksonville has to pull this move, if he's there. If he's there at 17, think about what he's going to be playing with next year. Think about what he's going to be playing with next year. He's going to have Arik Armstead on one side, Josh Allen in the other. He's going to have Foyesade Olokun and Devin Lloyd behind him. He's going to have Andre Cisco, Darnell Savage, Tyson Campbell in your secondary. Bro, you just got to play your game. If you just be you, the Jacksonville defense goes from here, and if everything clicks, to here. It improves drastically. Drastically. Byron Murphy would be the excellent pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars because it'll elevate your defense. And also, it takes so much pressure off whoever is the quarterback and the offense as a whole for the Jacksonville Jaguars team. It takes so much pressure to where now you don't even need the offense to win the games for you because you're holding your own. And it's not like the Jaguars defense was bad last year. It's just the offense just kept turning the ball fucking over after they would create a turnover. You don't believe me? Look at that Thursday night matchup. Derek Carr threw 4 interceptions, and Trevor Lawrence and that offense damn near almost gave it up every single fucking back time. So, again, if you get a defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars now will be able to compete in the AFC South. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to win the division, but can they compete for a wild card spot? Sure, whatever. That's fine. That's good with me. But at least give the Jaguar fans, at least give your franchise a shot. To me, Brian Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas, would be an amazing fit here.
I definitely was going to take Brian Murphy too, but I was just like, fuck, just receiving course sucks. Like,
it's rough. Do not get me wrong. It's rough. It's rough, man.
I was like, shit. He didn't do nothing special.
None.
You paid Gabriel Davis the same way you paid Christian Kirk. I'm like, do you not understand the value of receivers? The fuck is going on? Like, what are you paying? Who are you paying? Like, why are you paying dudes for your tight end to lead you in receiving your receptions? What the fuck is going on with this team? Brian Murphy Jr. is definitely the perfect person to fit with the Jags, but I just felt like, man, oh man, oh man. I'm like, man, you got to give Trevor Lawrence a chance. So if he screws up, it's on him. We gave you a weapon. We drafted one for you. We gave you a weapon. You have no excuses. So if you fuck up, it is your fault. It was
But if you're Doug Peterson, you have to think about it, man. I don't want to leave it in the hands of anybody. I'd rather just win with my defense and let my offense be at least good enough.
But the thing is that he is offense.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to put it in the hands of my defense. Your offense. Why do you not want to work on your offense? And it's like, you see the fucking quarterback I got? Like, he can't. See,
this ain't working. This ain't working.
He personally can't say, do you see my quarterback?
Do you see my quarterback situation is the thing. Like, do you see it? It's not Nick Foles and it's not Jalen Hurts. Do you see the quarterback situation that I'm in?
I got another Carson Wentz and I can't get rid of him. What the fuck?
And they took him number 1 overall.
Number fucking 1. Good God, man. It doesn't feel like it just feels like, yes, it would be in their best interest to probably take defense. I wouldn't be mad about it. But at the same time, it's like, what is the one thing I say? Your offense has to match you. You went and got Mac Jones for a reason. So this is literally going to be Trevor Lawrence's last time being the quarterback. That's what the hell I got from it. I don't know what everybody else got from it. But this is him saying to Mac Jones, to Trevor Lawrence, hey, see, all that.
Woo.
I'm pretty sure.
How do you do that?
I have no idea. I truly don't know.
This is your last shot.
I have no clue. But I feel like this is Trevor Lawrence's last time being the quarterback of the Jaguars, because if you do not figure this shit out this year, I got your replacement in the room with you, and y'all are the same damn age. It's not like it's a 4 jump. And we'll just pay his ass what we were going to pay you.
Might be even cheaper just because of the fact that you traded him away.
Even fucking cheaper. That is crazy to say. That is crazy. That is nuts.
That is insane.
That is nuts.
I like it. I think, to me personally, I think what we're looking at a situation, if you're the Jaguars, you got to do what's best for you at this point. Now, wide receiver? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Brian Thomas. That's a great fucking name. I don't think he should be taken lightly. That's a great fucking name. It's just to add a Brian Murphy when he fell in your lap. The best defensive tackle in the draft class fell in your lap. You didn't have to trade for him. He just fell to you.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to say no. It's pretty hard to say no.
It is. It's very difficult.
So,
very, very difficult.
I don't know. I think this is where the rubber meets the road for both of these guys. So we're going to see. So, all right. Just a little bit of recap here. At pick number 16, Brandon went Talis Fuuga, the defensive lineman from Oregon State. I went Latu, the defensive player out of UCLA. Brandon went Brian Thomas, wide receiver LSU. And I went Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas. So that is our picks today. We will be back tomorrow with picks 18 and 19. We got the Bengals, and we finally hit the first team of the playoffs, the Rams. The Rams. The first playoff team we're going to talk about is tomorrow. The Bengals are the last non-playoff team, and the Rams are going to be the first playoff team. So this is it. We are halfway through this season. We are halfway done. So it's going to be fun. We're looking at the Bengals and Rams tomorrow. So I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about these two teams. You have the Rams who made the playoffs. Not really sure what you're going to do, what the future looks like now that Aaron Donald's gone. And the Bengals are hoping that Joe Burrow can come back to being 100%. And where do you go from here? So it's like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. So until then, everybody, thank you so much for your support. Everybody that tuned in, Brandon, thank you so much again for helping me push this back. But tomorrow we'll be back on at the regular time, 6 p.m. Hopefully, no more surprises pop up. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, Brandon, you have yourself a wonderful night. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.